and they look like favorites.
This is my lock of the week.
Dodgers.
No. But opening day.
All right, welcome back to the Vegas Sports Panel. Today we're going to be talking defensive favorites. We're going to include the defensive linemen, probably defensive ends more, maybe some nose tackles if they kind of jump out at you. But we're going to name our favorites, and they may not be the best in your opinion, but they're our favorites. Keep that in mind. Roger, who do you got, buddy?
Hey, thanks, Devin. Welcome back to the Vegas Sports Panel channel. We're going over our favorite NFL defensive players of all time across generations. And I've always been an advocate of the 3-4 defensive alignment, so I'm picking 3 defensive linemen, 4 linebackers, and 4 defensive backs.
Okay.
I'm not, didn't really differentiate between nose tackles, nose guards, defensive ends, defensive tackles. One of 3 defensive linemen.
Okay.
Same with my linebackers, not inside or outside, but just I got my 4 linebackers and safeties and cornerbacks. I'm not discerning, just defensive backs.
Okay.
So anyway, my 3 defensive linemen are in no particular order: Reggie White, Jason Taylor, and Richard Dent. I think all 3 of them are in the Hall of Fame, but they were also my favorite players. Now remember, this is not just the best, but my favorite. So those are my 3 favorite defensive linemen: Reggie White, Jason Taylor, and Richard Dent. Moving on to my linebackers, I think it's a pretty strong core. My 4 linebackers, leading off with Mike Singletary, Hall of Famer, of course, Lawrence Taylor. He revolutionized the position in the 1980s. Jack Lambert from the Steel Curtain, Pittsburgh Steelers of the 70s. And my last of my 4 all-time favorite linebackers is Teddy Bruschi, winner of multiple Super Bowls. Moving on to the defensive backfield, that's going to be safeties and cornerbacks in no particular order. There's I guess an argument can be made for who's the greatest of all time, but to me, the greatest defensive back of all time, and my favorite is Ronnie Lott, 49ers, of course. Probably a lot of people might consider the best, but I didn't really like this person that much as a person that much, but he was a heck of a player. Deion Sanders was a great defensive back. He's on my all-time list. Gary Fensick from the Bears in the 70s. He was a hitter. And then my last pick for all-time favorite defensive backs is Chuck Cecil. He was on the Packers in the 80s and 90s. University of Arizona grad. Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year in his senior year in college, and the guy just knocked people out of their cleats. He was a headhunter, and now he's on the University of Arizona coaching staff, football coaching staff. So shout out to Chuck Cecil. Bear down.
Cecil.
Right on.
Bear down.
Okay.
All right, Bob.
Nicely done. What you got, Bob?
All right, I'm going to start with the D-line also. Again, these are favorites, not the best of all time. I would argue this guy's one of the best of all time. D-tackle Warren Sapp.
Oh, sure.
Loved Warren Sapp. There was a story about how before games he would eat raw eggs and then vomit. So then the offensive tackle that was in the guard that had to block him all game had to smell vomit. And raw eggs.
That's disgusting, but
that
got
makes
in
it
his
harder
head.
to block you. John Randall of the Minnesota Vikings. Nonstop
Okay.
smack talker. Very exciting. DNs. I got Richard Dent. Love you, brother Rick. And Khalil Mack. I'm going Bears there. One of the most excited times I've ever been watching a football game was when after the Bears traded for Khalil Mack.
Oh, don't remind me.
He was in town for about 3 days. They played the Packers. He hurt Aaron Rodgers, had like a strip sack, fumble, touchdown. He'd been in town for like 48 hours. He didn't even have a place to live yet. Lit up the Packers. Aaron Rodgers came back and won that game. It was on Monday Night Football. Linebackers. It's easy really here to go, as a Bears fan, to go Urlacher, Singletary, Butkus.
And no one would hate you for it.
Nobody would hate you
But we
for
didn't get
it.
to see. Did you ever get to see Butkus? I didn't even get
But
to see
did you
Butkus.
watch any other games?
But
So a
no,
lot
I'm
of
going to
good-
keep Singletary and Butkus
Okay.
because I've watched a lot of Butkus highlight films. He's a monster.
Sure. Yeah.
So I'm taking out Urlacher. Good for you. Putting in Lawrence Taylor.
I was going to say,
can't
you got to
argue
go
against Lawrence
LT
Taylor.
as somewhere
Yep.
in there.
You can't have him in there. Safeties. I got John Lynch from Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Obviously, I agree with Roger. Ronnie Lott's the best. severed his own pinky off and still played a game.
That's a maniac.
But I got John Lynch. Troy Polamalu jumping over the line
yeah, I
on fourth
forget
and
about
longs,
him,
trying to
yeah.
force fumbles.
Overachiever.
He was
that
fun
guy.
to
better
watch.
than Ronnie Lott.
He was fun to watch.
And then corners, I got Deion Sanders, obviously prime time, and Darryl Green, oldest ever.
Yeah,
Oh,
for the
yeah.
Redskins.
And he was
Or
the
from the
fastest person in
Washington.
NFL for many years.
Yep, for many, many years. And
That was a great one.
I guess we'll talk about your all-time coach at the end, but that's my starting defense.
Oh yeah, well,
Nice,
okay.
good job.
We were going to talk about all-time coach. Yeah, Don Shula.
All right, well, let Brandon get his, and then we'll see where we stand from there.
Iron Mike.
Of course.
Of course.
Goes without saying, right? I mean, you
Well,
know.
it could have been George Hallis.
Well, he's not that old.
They didn't make a Saturday Night Live sketch out of how awesome George Hallis was.
All right, Brandon, what's your list?
Yeah, we'll start D-line. Minister of Defense, Reggie White, obviously. Yeah, when he signed with the Packers, I was ecstatic. That was like one of the first like things as a kid where I was like, oh yeah, that's a big deal for my team.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Then I also went with Warren Sapp, being a big Miami Hurricane fan.
See, that's when I'm talking nose.
He's hard not to like.
He's hard not to like.
Just in general, he was like, him and Brett Favre were like kind of two peas in a pod. Like, just he played defense, talk a bunch of shit, kick your ass, and wipe his
Line up
balls, on your face. And then another one who now, thanks to Brady, he doesn't hold the record, but I took Charles Haley. I would love to have Charles Haley on my team. Animal, just a complete beast. And and I did take the freak. I took Javon Curse as another D lineman who I love to watch
He
play.
was fun to watch.
And linebacker, again, Ray Lewis, Miami Hurricane. Hard not to go there.
Right.
I think probably the best of all time. Luke Kuechly, I also took.
Okay. Something new. One of the newer. I mean, a lot of us
Yeah,
went
he's,
old school
he's
a little
very.
bit. So
Yeah, he's,
Oh yeah, I mean if he didn't have the head problems, he would go. Yeah, he's already a Hall of Famer.
Or if
but-
head problems weren't a thing.
yeah,
yeah, like back in the day, he'd probably still be not even like on anybody's concussion.
Yeah, it's kinda sad 'cause
contract.
I left him off too. But yeah, the guy, you would say first day I just brought that to mind was Junior Seau. I mean,
Yeah.
then because I did take Kevin Green as my third linebacker.
Oh, he was fun.
Yeah,
He played for the Packers, so I couldn't have him.
You're like,
Well, he coached the Packers. That's where he won the Super Bowl.
I thought he played a year for him.
No, he played for the
he played for the Rams.
Rams, I
Steelers.
thought. Yeah.
He
He
played for
opened-
the Rams.
Rams,
I'm
and
sure
then
he
he
played
went
for
to the
more than one team,
Steelers,
but-
and then he went to like the Panthers.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay, Panthers, I remember too. Okay. Right on.
And then who I think is the greatest safety of all time. You know what? Paul Amalu was there too. I will say that, and I'm not. But Ed Reed, I took at safety.
Oh,
Boy, the Ravens.
Again, I'm a big Miami fan, and it's hard to argue with the talent we got on defense in the NFL. I took Sean Taylor. Rest in peace. I mean, that's just
Okay.
I miss that guy. Cornerback Rod Woodson, who was actually the only person I know that was born in Fremont, Ohio, which is where my dad was born. So it's like one of those weird, like, I like him in general, but
That puts a stamp
it's just
on
like
it.
one of those, like, nobody's born in Fremont, Ohio. I don't even think it's on the map. And it's
that you
like, you
find
look
out
on the
about
back
it.
of his card, and it's like, Fremont, Ohio. Like,
And he
is that where you
transferred
said
to-
you were born, Dad? Like, yeah. Like,
Didn't
fuck.
he make Pro Bowl as a corner and a safety? He transferred to safety later in his career. I think he made a Pro Bowl at both.
Yeah, I mean, college don't matter on this level, but yeah, I mean, he's the last defensive player to win the Heisman for sure, I think.
Okay.
And the other corner would be Champ Bailey. I knew everybody would take Deion Sanders and Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah, I was going to say, would you fear him, Dion Moore, as a returner or
No,
a
as a cornerback.
As a cornerback?
Yeah,
Always.
cornerback.
Throw to his side of the field.
Right, but I always thought that he was.
I
But both of them, a lot of the highlight reels too were him returning
didn't
stuff.
like
He
the
wasn't a
guy.
Devin,
I didn't like his showboat,
right?
but his skill.
Yeah, he could break on something so fast. The breaking speed
And he
is
was
just.
he
His
was a
effect on it.
decent wide receiver for the Cowboys for like 2 years when they were like, well, let's let him catch passes. He's the third wide receiver.
Right, he's got all the skills. He's fast. He's got hands.
I mean, there's nothing you can do as an offense. You have to snap the ball.
Right,
You have
you-
to play. You can kick a ball out of bounds.
And he was an all-star baseball
And so
player.
when he
Right,
was,
that's
so
true.
when he's
That's
on
true.
the field, when he was on the field, like the defensive coordinator didn't really have to plan for that side of the field.
Right.
It was just done. So you could just focus.
They know that's covered. Let's focus over here.
So it made
Okay.
everything easier on the defense.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
All right, man.
Found it.
Good list, guys. Good list. And once again, these aren't the supposedly best of all
Oh, my
time.
coach is Jimmy Johnson.
Oh,
obviously.
Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson.
Okay.
And you had who?
I just said
Don
I'm,
Shula.
I said, just said I'm a
Because
huge
Miami.
Hurricane
Yeah,
fan.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
because
I was
it's
thinking for Cowboys.
because we're not
Right.
going by Super Bowls,
Right.
Because like obviously it wouldn't be my coach
Well, it's also
Ditka.
his favorite.
There's a Saturday Night Live sketch
That put it over
totally
the
written about Ditka. Like,